It's time for FOMO. So we are looking at Palantir. And Alex, I have to say that rarely do I get that excited about the technicals, but this chart is absolutely out of control. At least it was when shares were actually higher on the session. But then you zoom out and it's like, what move? I mean, this stock traded as high as $45 a share. So I got excited when it touched 17, but then you look at the broader picture and it makes you a little bit less excited.
It happened so quickly, though. I can understand the excitement. It's got government deals. It's got partnerships. It's got a fast-moving stock. It's sort of in this AI world, sort of a big data analytics company. It just seems to be having its moment right now. I know it's turned down here a little bit, but that is quite the rise. I mean, those little, kind of that jagged portion that almost looks like an EKG for most of the year, that's a big move. I mean, this stock was swinging around like, 10, 15% at a time, and it's dwarfed by just how massive the rally's been. So I look at this and I just look at Palantir as it's sort of right place, right time right now, and it's got a lot of things sort of clicking for it from an investor sentiment standpoint to a space that it operates in. And then just business seems to be improving as time's going on as well.
Yeah, and I will say that to back up its recent rally, we have gotten, like you said, a ton of new developments in this name. Right place, right time, and also whoever is running this company is very busy, I can imagine, because they did just announce a deal to provide their technology to Panasonic Energy, and through this multi-year agreement, Panasonic will use Palantir's foundry technology at its Nevada factory in order to integrate these sensors on its factory lines as well as automate tasks and connect its operations. This will also be rolling out to a new facility for Panasonic Energy in 2025 in Kansas. And they did highlight the fact that this agreement does expand really Palantir's signature platform, including AI, of course, and some edge capabilities in the manufacturing space. But shares are up, or at least they were prior to this basically reversal today. Shares were up about 5% on the week, and they did have news earlier this week. They actually announced a deal with special ops in terms of the U.S. government that was worth up to $463 million. And we also got some new AI integration news from the company. So they are backing up this recent rally with a lot of positive developments. And the more and more they mention AI, I think the better, at least for Palantir's stock. It's more than doubled now over the past month. But then it begs the question of, has its valuation run a little bit too far too fast? I mean, its rally comes despite the fact that Palantir has posted 8 straight quarters of flat to decelerating growth. I mean, that gives me a little bit of concern. And again, not to be a naysayer on Palantir, but if you look at a longer term chart, this recent run-up looks a lot less impressive, I will say.
Looking at this one, a couple things we got to address. Stock's about $1 lower, and it's a $15, $16 stock. That's a huge percent. So this strategy, quite frankly, is just stale at this point. We're going to have to just bear with it as if the stock was still almost $16. But we can talk about some adjustments you could make in the strike if you were looking at a similar strategy at on a $15 stock. But looking at this, I looked at a call zebra, Jenny, and essentially that's a stock replacement or theoretical stock replacement. It's seeking to get the upside of 100 shares of stock, but a different downside risk profile, while also eliminating the time portion, or the time decay portion, I should say, of just buying a long call, which would kind of accomplish similar to the upside and have different risk profile. So what we're looking at here is a June monthly, so that's just next Friday. Again, let's imagine that this stock was a $16 stock, and it'll make a little bit more sense. Buying 2 of the 15 calls, selling 1 of the 16. So the idea being you're buying 2 of the 75 or so delta call, looking to sell the at the money call for about 50 deltas. That 150 long delta, subtract out that 50 short delta from the short call, gets you to 100 theoretical deltas here, or what would be sort of a share equivalent for how this would perform. That gives you that upwards sloping line that basically has unlimited profit potential to the upside. In exchange, though, you get risk definition. You only have $200 in risk on this trade, as opposed to if you just bought 100 shares of stock at 16, you'd have $1,600 in risk. However, what you'll notice is you have twice as much risk down to that long strike. So in this case, if the stock just went to 15, like it actually did, you'd be out $200 on this type of trade at expiration, where the stock shares would only be out $100 over that time. Also, notable differences too. Options have expiration dates. Options don't have voting rights or anything like that. So there's key differences between being a shareholder and using options to theoretically get similar exposure. So it's always important to note that as well. If I was maybe looking at this same strategy again now in real time, potentially you're looking at shifting those strikes down a full dollar. So 2 of the 14s, sell the 15. But again, you'd have to look at it and assess that as necessary. Maybe the shift in the stock price changes your outlook as well. But as far as I see it, given its ultimate run, given the news, the fear of missing out is to the upside right now in Palantir.
Definitely. And overall, on a year-to-date basis, things still do look relatively strong. I mean, this is just a lesson in real time why it's so important to watch some of these names that tend to move, because Palantir is just continuing to move lower now on the session. But we will leave it there for FOMO.